Hey guys, it's Dawn here with Wplus9 Design Studio. Welcome back to day 2 of our April release. Today I wanted to give you a more in-depth look at one of the stamp sets that we're releasing, and it's for Mother's Day. And it's centered around these flowers, the tulip and the daffodil. I said yesterday on my blog that it was easy for me to choose which flowers to represent Mother's Day. I just used the two most influential people in my life, which were my mother and my grandmother. So the tulips represent my mom and the daffodils represent my grandmother. There's a lot of great sentiments in this set. You can make a Mother's Day card for anybody. A sister, an aunt, a friend, grandmother. I've even included wife in here for those few male stampers that we have. I know that you guys don't get a lot of wife-related sentiments in the stamp sets because, generally we tend to be women. But there are some guy stampers out there, so I've included one in here for you guys as well. So today's card is a really, really simple one. It's standard size, so it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. Sorry. Yesterday I showed you guys some really, really vibrant coloring using these stamp sets, and I also showed you some paper piecing. But these are really great just standalone also. So that's what I wanted to do today, was to do a nice, simple, clean card. This is actually a shot of the finished card, and it's really, really simple and really pretty. I'm not too sure how the tone-on-tone stamping is going to show up during the tutorial, so for today's card and for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to stamp the flowers in white. I just think they'll show up better for you guys. But that's the finished card. And ignore my band-aid. I think I am the only person in the world that can cut myself opening an ink pad. This is the 3rd time I've done it. So if I'm not, it's the Stampin' Up! Ink pads. If I'm not the only one that's ever done that, please leave me a comment, let me know, because I'm starting to feel a little challenged. Alright, so I'm going to start out using the daffodil image, the large daffodil image in the set. Let me just pull that off. I'm going to lay this down and pick it up with a large block. This is a large image. It's approximately, let me measure it here for you. 4.5 inches long? No, that can't be right. Yeah, it's approximately 4.5 inches long. So, I'm just gonna pick it up and grab my white ink, and let me ink this up. Make sure I get it nice and evenly covered, because it's a large stamp. And I'm going to stamp my first image, and I'm going to open this up so it lays flat. And I'm going to stamp my first one right about here. And then I'm just going to get nice even pressure all over this. And there it is. All right, I'm going to repeat this a couple times just to fill a little bit more of that space. Okay, now that that's all inked up, that's all stamped and everything's good, I can move on to doing the getting the pieces cut for the sentiment area and stamped over here. So I'm going to move this over here for a second, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a label die cut, this frame, from our release, which you haven't seen yet. You'll see more on that tomorrow. But I've already cut it out, so you're getting a sneak peek. So I've cut out the shape already, and I'm going to be cutting this in half right across here, because I'm only going to use this top portion. I think what I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to stamp one of the matching frames over the whole thing, and then I'm going to cut it off. because I think it'll be easier to line up that way. And I'm going to use Stampin' Up's More Mustard, one of their little stampin' spots here. I've had this thing forever. I cannot believe that it is not dry yet. So I'm just going to get nice even coverage. And then I'm going to line it up over my die. Let's see if I came close. Yeah, pretty good. All right. So that's one of the frames. You're getting a sneak peek. That's one of the frames that goes with the die cut here. I'm going to take my trimmer and I'm going to cut this in half right down the middle. All right, now that I've got that cut out, I'm going to be placing the doily behind it. So I'm using the doilies from Wilton, the cake accessories and stuff. You can get this in the baking aisle at Michael's or whatever. 30 come in a pack. They last forever. I don't need the whole thing, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off like a little piece of the top. So I've got that cut out. I've got this. I'm going to take this and I'm going to stamp my sentiment right here in the middle, and I'm going to be using one of the sentiments here from A Special Lady. I'm going to use the grandmother sentiment. And I'm just going to stamp it in jet black. So, let me put that there. I'm just shifting my whole thing around here, aren't I? Make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers. And I'm going to stitch across the bottom here. I know, amazing, I'm going to use a sewing machine. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher. Just stamp that right there. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Font is so pretty. Alright, set that off to the side. We are actually almost done. We just have to put it all together. Next up, what I'm going to do is, you'll notice in the original card, and you can see the picture on the blog, is that I took a Copic and I just outlined the whole image to give it a little more pop, a little more depth. So I'm just going to take the Copic marker. Here I'm using a YR21 Copic, and this is Summer Sunrise by Paper Trink. So So I just went around the whole outside of the image. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Now, another fun thing that I did also was, on the last card, I filled in the stamen here of the daffodils, and I think that kind of helped make that pop a little bit as well. So I'm just going to go through here and color in the stamens of these as well. If you wanted to soften these up more, you could take your blender pen and go over them too. I think it's fine. So there they are, all outlined. All right. So before I sew this on, because that's pretty much the final step, I'm going to round my corners using the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. I'm going to get it right this time, and I'm going to use the 1/2 inch side. I'm just going to round the top corners. There we go. And I'm going to ink around the edges using the white ink pad. I'm just going to go directly from ink pad to paper here too. no real science. And then you can also take your finger and smear it to soften it even further because it's still a little wet. These hybrid inks take a little bit longer to dry. So there we go. Now, almost done. So I'm just gonna tack these into place real quick. And I can use removable adhesive, or this one just happens to be on hand. You could use permanent. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive back here just to hold it for me while I sew it, so I don't have to hold it down, because Lord knows I don't need anything extra to do while trying to use a sewing machine. Okay, there we go. I've added the stitching. I seriously shouldn't be allowed anywhere near a sewing machine. They are crazy crooked. But I just did a triple on the first one. I actually managed to get it straight. Show you that one. My little double row. Well, it's kind of straight. It's much more straight than this one. And the very, very last thing I wanted to do, we're all done with the outside. The very last thing I wanted to do was stamp the inside. I wanted to show you the interior sentiment that goes with this set. It's so pretty. It says, "I don't tell you often enough, everything I am, I owe to you." So I thought this was a great sentiment because a lot of times, you know, we're not, for one reason or another, you're not always raised by your mother. So by having, you know, sometimes an aunt will, you know, take care of you. Sometimes a grandparent will take care of you. Sometimes, you know, it's a family friend, depending on the circumstances. But by keeping, you know, this separate and keeping the main sentiments for the outside of the card not combined, you can say, you know, grandmother, everything I am, I owe to you. You can say it for your aunt. Sometimes, you know, siblings will help raise each other. So I just thought it was really nice that you don't have to be exclusive to just your mother. Sometimes those other occasions, sometimes those other members are hard to find Mother's Day cards for. So I'm just gonna ink this up in the same basic black. And I'm going to stamp it straight right there. And then I'm going to finish it off with one of the 2 Happy Mother's Day sentiments. So this one right here. Hopefully I got that straight. Yeah. So, and that completes the card. So thanks for joining me again for day 2 of our April release. Be sure to head on over to the blog if you're watching this on YouTube. It's www.stampawaywithme.blogspot.com. Or you can also get to our blog through our website, which is www.wplus9.com. Thanks for watching.